Okay, let's try my luck again. Afternoon, 2:30 here. I know I should be working. If you're not a member of chessbowl.net, which is my correspondence server, please do become a full member to help me feel less guilty about not doing programming all the time. I've been spending too much time perhaps doing videos. So okay. Right. And of course all the master games, they're in the master collection at chessbowl.net. If you want to check out the masters collection, if you become a full member, you can either play through the games, or you can even play like the master, try and guess the next moves. Okay, so landa, I think I'm going to play e4, so sharp game hopefully. Okay, so what will it be? Sveshnikov. Okay, I'll play mainline-ish stuff. What about knight d5 or bishop f6? So knight d5 sort of Karpovian, or bishop f6. I think I'll try knight d5. And I'll take care, and maybe c4 I think is more trendy than c3. Okay. Except there might be some analysis I've forgotten about c4, why c3 used to be preferred a lot to c4. There's a Shirov video on YouTube about this, c4 becoming trendier. I think Queen a5 check might have been considered a problem in the past. But maybe just, I don't know, queen d2. Not too many moves there actually. Queen d2. With a small advantage even if the queens come off. Okay, he's thinking about it. Maybe he's used to c3. Or have I got this wrong? Is it in the bishop f6 line? G takes. I'm supposed to play c4. Whoops. Okay. So why is he thinking about this? Is he a Sveshnikov guru? I've violated Sveshnikov theory or something by playing c4. I suppose I could start checking out some stuff. If he castles, maybe queen d2 to stop queen a5. Actually, bishop e2 should be okay. Check, maybe king f1. Queen would be sort of misplaced. I could carry on with h4 there. I'll be threatening knight f6. So I just get bishop e2 in if it castles. Queen a5, there's an option of king f1. Okay. So landa. Okay. Okay, well, I don't know what I can say now about the position. Have I just done an opening blunder? Is he trying to pounce on this blunder? Again, we've got this situation. If he spends 1 to 2 minutes to move, how many moves can he play? Like 11? 11 moves. We're only at move 11, so spending a deep think here is really cutting into his percentage of time if he's going to spend like 5 minutes on this move. That'll be like 50% nearly of his time gone. Just from move 11 to 12. Okay, so bishop e2, I think. He stopped queen d2 for queen a5. Unless I'm considering f4, I think I'll just let him dislodge my king. Is that the refutation of this? Unless I play b4. Can I get away with b4 to stop queen a5? b4 might not be so bad because he has not played b4. Would I be exploiting the weakness of the last move, which is actually the omission of b4? So if I play b4, there's still pressure on b5. I've ruled out queen a5. That might be actually an accurate move here. Maybe more accurate than bishop e2, because check king f1 is not that pleasant as f5. I'm going to play b4. I suppose bishop e6 could undermine b4, but then maybe queen b3. I'll be on that diagonal. For later f5s there might be a check at some point on the diagonal. The queen is on b3, especially if it takes like that. Battery. Like in the Morphy game we saw earlier. So any f5s, then knight f6. Check if the bishop's on e6 and he plays for castles on f5. This might be an improvement anyway on bishop e2, queen a5. There wasn't b4 because of queen a3, of course, in that line. So I think I've avoided an unpleasantness. But he has invested about 2 minutes there. That is quite a high percentage of time available. So what this guy's stats are interest. He's been up to 1949, May 2011. So have I avoided a little disaster there by playing b4? But usually black does play b4 as well in response, and now b takes could be actually uncomfortable for black in some respect. Which respect though? Knight takes c4 or bishop c4? Now, this knight looks pretty dangerous. And is he really sacrificing this? I suppose I can't do anything with this. I could try and sneakily just undermine d4 by taking on b5. Takes knight b5. That'll be hitting the knight here. There's no nasty tactic, is there? Bishop g4. Maybe bishop g4. Well, I'm protecting that with the bishop. So I'm wondering, can I get away with c takes? And then knight takes b5. So I'm directly asking the question about that knight. He takes bishop b5, dream position. Get rid of the light square bishop, pardon me. Well, I'll go for it, even though I haven't castled. I'm violating bit principle here of not castling. My king's still in the centre. I'm about to be crushed. At least there's no queen a5 checks. There's no rook sack with rook a2, is there? Bishop g4 is a decoy. It can't get into c2 at the moment, so I don't think so. Takes, then bishop g4. I could lose the exchange. Queen takes, knight c2, king d1, knight takes a1, knight c7. Check, win the rook over there. So I think that was a serious concern. Now what about h4? Just try and kick this bishop, or even b6. b6 bishop, e6 though. Or just b takes, just to make sure I've got rid of the light square bishop. If I play b takes, I'm getting a bit greedy here. But bishop e6, maybe bishop c4. I could really test them here. with B takes. It is playing the position if it is going to work, but no, I've got this. Basically, I can't leave the king here, surely. But again, I'm tempted to violate rules here with takes. Takes, bishop takes, rook takes. In this position after knight c4, I think he's going to start having counterplay, like rook c6. So okay, I just want to get castled. Mind you, that is tempting. If he did take, I could take, okay, knight c4, I'm almost casting, rook c6, go back to this again, and then I'm in trouble. Unless queen d3, what happens after queen d3? f5? Really, I think he's making me break principles here by not casting. Oh dear. Shall I test it? If I take off the light square bishops, it's a strategic victory. Knight c4, rook c6. Then I'm in trouble, surely. I'm going to get absolutely slaughtered. So what about just bishop d3? AB knight takes b5. No, I can't decide this. I can't decide this. I don't know. This looks intuitively risky to take this pawn. But shall I do it anyway? It might be b5. Bishop moves back, knight c4. No, as soon as b5 is queen a5 check, then I'll be in serious trouble. What about just giving him that pawn? So bishop d3, he takes, and maybe even not even taking there, just knight c2. Just get rid of this pesky knight and try and play positionally. Try and lock down f5. I think I'm safer doing that to avoid embarrassment too much, I hope. It gives the king f1. I can't carry on doing stuff like this, especially after covering the Allies game against Morphy. I cannot leave the king in the centre, even if it looks tempting. So A takes knight c2, get rid of this knight, and then hopefully it should be more pleasant to play. This bishop will be blocking that diagonal anyway. I don't want to give the opponent too many lines to my king, like a5. So if he wants to take, okay, he gets the a file, knight c2, I can get rid of a dangerous piece. Knight c2, queen c2, I'm restricting f5. It might be bishop e6. Fine, I can live on to another day, I can castle then. Right, so he has tested me about this c4 business. Swapping this knight for that knight does seem a good... I mean, that's a weakness. My d4 is a weakness here. Without the dark square bishop. What else is going on? So AB, I want to play knight c2 just to try and keep things under control. Get rid of his best piece. Actually, there's almost knight b3 now. I can just take there. Takes, I take with the queen. So takes, bishop e6. As soon as he takes, I'll be on at h7 with a battery. But he's got control of the c file for rook c8. There's no queen c8 you can take with bishop c8. It doesn't have to play queen c8. There's no knight e7 anyway. That's out of... Okay, so knight c2, bishop e6 is probably doing very well. The other way is, as previously I thought, oh hang on, okay, I think I need to get castled before doing anything else. This would open up the bishop anyway, takes, I'd be opening up the bishop to h7. Now he's used serious amounts of time just on move 15. So imagine a minute a move from here. It's only going to be about move 20, 21 if it's a minute a move. He cannot carry on trying to play that precisely. Just want to make sure he hasn't got too much play here, counterplay. Okay. So bishop d5 e takes. Okay, I don't want to take that necessarily, but it looks tempting as well. Knight takes. Alright, what's wrong with it? I'm attacking that knight still, so it is sort of relating to the centre. If he does want to take bishop d5, I've even got queen d5. So any tactical refutation. The option of knight c2 is not as appealing as winning that pawn now. I'm going to dare to take the pawn. I can't see at this moment how that's... what nasty things to look out for. There's no nasty check, there's no nasty bishop f4. Bishop d5 takes, there's queen b6 there. I can take on d4. Once he takes there, there's queen b6. I can, okay, queen b6 there. I don't know, he's on to win the b pawn. It's not a big deal, so I'm going to take. Well, I hope it's not a big deal. Anyway, after knight takes, bishop takes, there's queen takes. Okay, he's opening up that. I think I haven't got... Well, have I got a choice? I've got a choice. I don't have to auto recapture. There's knight d4. Okay, e takes, and I've got ideas on h7 as well. So I can take... He's getting a bit of counterplay. Is knight d4 actually any better? Bishop e4, I'm on winning the exchange. If he moves the bishop, then say bishop e6, there's knight e6. If he moves bishop over there, then there's knight f5. That knight looks dangerous on f5. If he takes like that, he's splintering his pawns, and ed, he's got double pawns. And that doesn't look too good structurally for him. I remember horrible Sveshnikov games when I used to play it, getting a double pawn. So knight d4. But what about rook a2 or bishop a2? Rook a2, well, I just take there. Bishop a2, there's knight f5. I've got this passed b pawn. So if we contrast that to ed, I'm giving him the option really of knight takes and then queen b6. Mind you, there's a4 there. So I can't see after a4 how I'm losing that pawn. So now I'm confused. That looks pretty safe as well, ed. Let's say queen b6. Knight d4, there's queen d4. He keeps his pawn structure intact. So I think I'm going to take knight takes d4 to be daring. Getting rid of that central knight. Okay, now I've got a passed pawn here. There's knight f5. There's an idea. I think I'll play knight f5. It looks like an aggressive Royal Lepesian knight on f5. Kasparov's favourite place for a knight. Backward d pawn, past b pawn, but we're equal on pawns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I didn't want to be material up, facing huge counterplay particularly. So he's weakening his king a bit. So knight g3 or knight e3. I think knight e3 he could take. Okay, so let's just go back to g3, even though it looks a bit... Actually, it does look passive now. But takes and queen b6 is unpleasant. So maybe I've got nothing here. Except a minute time advantage, unfortunately. I've got a b pawn. But say he plays d5, at least I'm locking down against d5. This knight's useful for e4 control. Okay, I can try and use this b pawn. Maybe rook b1. Just trying to get the rook behind the pawn. I'll give that a shot. Doesn't look that aggressive, this position anymore. Queen e2 and bishop c4. I don't know. Actually, queen e2 rook. I think just getting a rook to d1 might be nice for bishop c4 later. Queen e2 rook d1 bishop c4. Try and get a bind again on d5, but he's going to play for d5. Maybe takes. If queen d5 is bishop e4 there though. which might be pleasant to get the queens off and keep this b pawn asset. If bishop d5, I don't know, bishop e4 again, simplifying perhaps nicely. Okay, so queen e2, so I can play b5 soon, but I can't play rook c1, I can play rook d1. Okay, it's not so hot. Rook a4, there's b5. Oh, that's not nice. Maybe I should get rid of that rook. Actually, there's no queen b4 if rook b2 is there, so because this bishop's protecting. Things are not that good here. Oh dear. I think some space for my king. Port f2 is a big problem. And I'll be able to play king h2. In fact, he's going to be threatening rook a2 and rook f2 and take some bishop e3 soon with that bishop over there. What about bishop b1 then to stop rook a2 again? That might be a good idea. And there's queen b4 there. Actually, my knight's protecting the queen as well, so I think bishop b1's possible. There's no bishop c4 skewing at the moment. I'm going to evict that rook. Otherwise, rook f2 and bishop e3 is not things to look forward to. So queen b4 takes, rook e2, I've got knight e2. Rook a1 though, probably dangerous. If I can play rook d1 without getting murdered here, there's no bishop a2 I can take, queen's protecting that. Okay, so I think I've averted the major disaster point with rook f2. Now can I play b5? He's going to start attacking that pawn pretty soon after. But how else to protect the pawn? I think I need to play b5. If he goes for it with bishop d7, maybe I can play bishop d3 again. And he won't be on a2 anyway. I just need to get organised here. It's like getting organised against all these. Whoops! I have to play bishop d3. That was the other threat then. Okay. If I can get rid of that light square bishop though, that'll be something achieved strategically for this d5. If he gets rid of the light square bishops, that won't be the best decision I think strategically. Only a minute advantage. I don't really want to get below 3 minutes with media encoded. It's a bit slower. Well, definitely not less than a minute anyway. So down to the last few minutes. Okay. He has speeded up. He must have speeded up. Okay, I think easy move to play. Looks like practically forced. And that looks nicer strategically for me without the bishop pair. Control of d5. So, rook d1 coming up. I need to sort out my back row though, but as soon as I sort out my back row, it's got bishop f4. In fact, not on that as well. It's getting horrible. Okay, what about queen b3 to stop? Does it stop anything? Queen b3 doesn't really do much. Can't see anything else to do though. Queen b3, queen f3. I'll play queen b3 then. So the knight's holding up e4 anyway, it's not that bad, but he could try and threaten the knight. Actually, that could be naughty. Bishop f4. Oh dear. Actually, it takes... I've got queen d5. But you can protect the rook either way, with rook here, or rook back there. Okay. Oh, just in case then, shall I just protect b5 a bit more? Hopefully there's no rook d2 or anything. So I've got my pass pawn going nowhere. I've got weakness of the f2 diagonal still, but it doesn't look as bad as before somehow. And he's getting very short on time. Great news. So time pressure should kick in with some easy blunders to pick up. What if I just sacrifice a pawn though with knight e2, takes, knight c3, rook moves knight d5, lifts the blockade. Obviously f3 is not a good idea, rook d1, double check, and mate. Is he really going to sack the exchange? I'll give this, I think, mind you, bishop f4 is happening. So he's going to win a pawn quite forcibly. What's bishop f4? Ouch. Let's I put the king here for f3. My back row is protected at the moment. Maybe I can sack the queen for 2 rooks. I'll play this then. Just in case f3. Alright, so he's going to play rook b4. There's all sorts of tactical ideas. Right, if I play f3 here, okay, I'm supporting e4, but this back row is getting a bit scary. I want to play h3 at some point. It's down to a minute. So he's been a bit luxurious on time, give me a 2-minute advantage after all that. So rook takes, my back row's not exposed just yet. But it's getting pretty dangerous and unpleasant for me. Maybe rook b1 isn't that bad. Am I imagining this? If I play rook b1, you could take on b5 then, great. So knight e2, where's the rook going after knight e2? Queen b5 and he's on f1. If I make some space for the king, he's got rook c4. Queen e2, protecting b5. The rook's still in prison. There's no rook d2. Probably queen e2 then is a good idea. Queen e2. Hoping. So keeping hold of b5 for a moment. The rook and bishop is awkward. If the bishop moves, protecting the rook, I don't know, I've got dark square issues here. So h3 here or h4. h3 I think. Give my king some air. Even though this bishop could be lethal on dark squares later. What about knight f1 to e3? He can't play the queen down if I play knight f1. I can get the king out of the way if there's no rook d1. So knight f1, I think. Protecting d2 as well. Oh, b4, rook d1, king g1. Can't see that. Oh, there's rook b4. Okay. So if I play king, am I getting mated? Rook d1 is getting near, isn't it? Whoops. There's rook b4, rook f1. Or there's knight g3 there if needed. And there might be bishop e1. Okay, I'll get the king out of the pin anyway. I don't like the pin. He's probably got a forced win here with these dark square weaknesses. Whoa! Okay, if I take, I get the pass pawn going. Okay, so let's see. Takes. I can't see the danger. Check, king g3. There's no queen e1 there. So I'm going to go for this pass pawn. Make a run for it with the pass pawn. Make a run for this pass pawn. 10 seconds to go. Okay, he's getting passive there. Very passive. Queen c8. Smyslov will be proud of this final position. Queen side. Win on the queen side. Oh, blimey. Tense game. Blimey, I thought I was in trouble there. A lot of pressure from the opening. Just want to exploit a nuance or two. Pawn sack like a Benko gambit. Taking on d4. Gave him the 2 bishops, but I've got that past b pawn asset. held on to it through the storm with Queen E2. Then my king started to be questioned, but then the B pawn becomes the hero. Comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks very much.